Namaste, guys. Christian Long, life enhancement consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out this Sunday evening here in Denver, Colorado at 6 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. We're jumping on for a daily dose of growth. Challenges designed to grow you as a soul and make you a better person. And we are at our challenge number 13 for today. Karen, Namaste. For some reason, I can't get my words out. Suresh, Namaste. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just finished doing some post, kind of blissing out from doing some work, doing some planning. Good things are going on. It was interesting getting the feedback from you guys on today's challenge. So for those of you logging in for the first time, our challenge for the day was was hard but very fun. Suresh, where's the recording, son? That was part of the challenge. So the challenge for today was to come up with an original joke. Could have been short, could have been long. Sarah, Namaste. Could have been in a story form, could have been a one-liner. But it had to be original. It had to be your joke. And then you had to send it to me on Facebook Messenger as an audio file so I could hear you say it. And the last part of it was laughing. It was awkward but fun. You know, I like my awkward. So it had to be fun. You had to laugh. You had to have a good time. You had to be out of your comfort zone, but still get it done, right? So for those of you who sent me the messages, I sent to your Facebook Messenger, Christian Long. Interesting. Is it my face or is it another Christian Long? You guys will never believe this. So about a year and a half ago, there was a Christian Long who reached out to 4 Christian Longs on Facebook and created a Facebook group of Christian Longs. So we would message each other and be like, hey, Christian Long, what's going on in your world? And we would just have this quick banter back and forth, and we're all in different parts of the world. Really, really funny. I don't know. I'm trying to remember which Christian Long had the idea of forming a group of other Christian Longs. Can you imagine multiple Christian Longs? That would be aggressive. And I heard there's like twin festivals, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? There's twin festivals out there where twins, triplets, and quadruplets all get together for their conventions around the country, around the world. I remember reading about it in the Guinness Book of World Record many, many years ago of the largest twins and above convention or something like that. That could be a confusing day. Let's see. So Lizzie says, did it before. Thought it was hard because it's hard for me to be funny in English. Perfectly understandable. My first language is Spanish. I caught that in the recording. During has to really think and get out of the comfort zone after I laughed. Mission accomplished. Yes, August 3rd in Ohio. Every year the Twin Festival. So Lizzie is a twin. August 3rd. Do I know anyone that August 3rd? August 5th I know. September 5th I know. Yeah. August 29th, August 22nd. So I'm thinking of birthdays of people I know. Ohio. Who would have thought Ohio every year, the Twin Festival? And here's one for you. The girl who introduced me to pranic healing over 16, almost 17 years ago was an identical twin. Funny, right? I remember her showing me a picture, and as a joke to some of you guys, you may remember this, you may not remember this, but faces is not my skill set. So if a woman changes her face, like she gets what is it called, like eyeliner, she does what is it called, eyelashes, lipstick, she does something with her face and something with her hair, she has it pulled up, pulled down, she dyes it, something like that. It's very difficult for me to recognize that person. I don't know what it is about my personality and how I recognize things with my eyes, but I can remember what somebody was wearing, and I can remember exactly what we were talking about 6 months ago, but I can't remember if they changed their hair and who are they. It's very strange. So when I saw a picture of her and her sister in the same picture, I couldn't tell even a little bit who was who. Not even a little bit. And I mean, granted, they were identical twins and same body type, same height, weight, everything. Like they were very similar in their lifestyles. But I never got to meet the sister because she was out of the country at the time. Jessica has heard of the Twin Festival. Okay. Suresh, it's yours. I see your. Okay. Okay, so I'll double check. I give you props. I give you credit. I will listen to it. Amir, namaste. Good to have you on the stream. We haven't seen you on the stream for a hot minute. Denise says, I did it and loved doing it. And during doing it, heart open again and big smile on my face, even afterwards. I heard that little baby giggle afterwards. So what other awareness you had as we got the challenge, awareness you had during the challenge, and awareness you had after the challenge? So far, this theme seems to be awkward, nervous, not really sure what to do, kind of stumbled along during the process, got excited, and then fulfilled and happy at the end. Are you guys beginning to notice a pattern that as you practice the challenges every single day, what's the feedback that you're getting? The feedback after doing it is you feel better. You feel like you stretched. You feel like you grew a little bit more as a person and a little bit more as a soul. True or not true? That is the benefit of the challenges. So far, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong, but in the 13 challenges that we've done, no one has said, I totally regret doing that challenge. Why did I even waste my time? So Denise says true. To my knowledge, not one person. Elizabeth, namaste, you changed your profile picture again, and I also saw your new and improved Bitmoji. Is that what everyone's doing? I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing it on Instagram and I'm seeing it on Facebook of people's new iPhone Bitmojis or something. Did I miss the boat on this? I mean, I'm pretty up to date with technology and on board. I was just noticing it today. I was like, what's going on with everyone's Bitmojis? I like my Bitmoji because he has little slippers on. Bunny slippers. Coincidence? I think not. So Denise is saying yes. Okay, so there is an upgrade in the Bitmoji world. Got it. Well, I'll have to check my phone and see what's up. The new avatar. That's right. That's what Jessica was pointing out. The new avatar. Okay. And then I made the joke to Jessica, new avatar. Now the goal is to become an avatar. Just a few, 100,000 more lifetimes and it should be good to go. So anything else that somebody wants to share about their experience of the awareness that they acquired doing this challenge? Different challenge, but every challenge is super different. I was very awkward trying to think of one, and I tried to convince my son to play along in a skit, but he was being difficult, so I had to think, and the one I sent you made me laugh to remember. Good. Yeah. What's up, Pocanose, Pokaheiny? It's on Facebook. Yeah, your new Bitmoji. For sure. Sarah says, I felt so good because it changed my attitude. Love it. I was very sad and stressed, but I did it, and I felt so good that I jumped from bed to do the rest of the challenges I had not done before. That's amazing. That's super, super cool. I love it. Good job, Sarah. Good for you. So, that's an opportunity to grow the soul, right? To stretch. If these challenges were easy, what would be the point of doing them? Right? So if, as Grandmaster Choa Kok-Sui would say, tests are given to strengthen your spiritual muscles. Tests are given to strengthen your spiritual muscles. So every single day, for at least 15 minutes, we put in some effort to stretch our mental body, to stretch our emotional body, to stretch our physical body, to stretch our finances, and to stretch our spiritual or causal body, helping us become a better person and a better soul. So, and it's funny because there are people who spend their entire lives living in the status quo because of fear, because of low self-esteem, because of low self-worth, because of lack of ambition, lack of drive, many, many different factors, and they just go like this their whole lives. They don't really grow much. By the way, as a quick side note, I think you guys will be interested in this. By the way, Joanna says, I did it and it was odd in the beginning. I did chuckle because it brought back a memory that made me smile, and after I felt glad I was glad it felt good. Perfect. And I did catch that. Suresh says, learning to be less resistant to come out of my comfort zone. Perfect. remind me, Suresh, I have a funny story connected to that as well. So, how many of you have had the question in the past about reincarnation? I know this is a little bit outside the scope of practical spirituality. Connected to reincarnation, and you ask yourself the question, when do I reincarnate again? When do I reincarnate again? Do I leave my body and then reincarnate a week later? Do I reincarnate 500 years, 1,000 years later? How often do I reincarnate? So as I understand it, the very advanced souls will reincarnate 500 years or later. Less advanced souls will reincarnate 500 years or sooner. Why is that? As I understand it, this is the best of my knowledge and the best of my memory, that an advanced soul does a lot of things. True or not true? So advanced soul is very busy in the physical plane, they're very busy on the emotional plane, they're very busy on the mental plane, and they're very busy on the spiritual plane, and they're having a lot of experiences, and they're learning a lot of lessons, right? So if you look at the masters in pranic healing, there's 8 masters in pranic healing. If you look at their lives from year to decade, they typically have more life experience in 1 year than many of us will have in 10, 15 years, in 1 year. So when we leave our bodies, those lessons, those experiences, and those energies need to be absorbed by the soul and processed, right? And then that soul chooses to reincarnate. The more advanced the soul, the more experiences, the more lessons, right? The more time it takes to assimilate. But if you have lived a very boring life, where you wake up, you have the same job for 30, 40, 50 years, you don't challenge yourself mentally, you don't challenge yourself emotionally, like Suresh is saying, getting out of your comfort zone, you don't challenge yourself physically, there's not much information to upload to the higher soul, right? So then you reincarnate relatively soon, because there's not much energy or information going up. Does that make sense? So it's really quite fascinating. So typically, in general, the more advanced soul takes longer to reincarnate. Jessica says, I believe in reincarnation. Yes, preparing for the next incarnation. No, straight line for me. I like to zigzag like a rabbit running. Another bunny reference. And so connecting to Suresh's comment about getting out of your comfort zone, this might inspire you guys, at least on one level of truth. So my ex-wife, who's been a very good practitioner of pushing herself and getting out of her comfort zone as she's gotten older, there was her boss, this is like maybe 15 years ago, her boss, who was very successful in commercial real estate. He was a realtor for commercial real estate. He was also a commercial real estate investor. So he did both. He did the buying and selling for clients, and he did the buying and selling for himself. And so one day he came in, and my wife at the time, she was working on her computer. She was doing she was doing research, real estate research for him and his company. And she was typing at the computer, and he came in from a deal that he had just closed, and he put a check down on the table in front of her. And she looked down, and she was like, now at the time, she was making about $20, $25 an hour. And he says, you can do exactly this. This deal took me 18 months to put together. You can do exactly what I did and more. And he says, but you have to get out of your comfort zone. Everything that you want is outside of your comfort zone. Think about that. Everything that you want is outside of your comfort zone. So at the time, the check that he showed her was a check for $415,000. One check in an 18-month period, and he had many, many checks coming in month after month after month after month after month. The guy had been in real estate, commercial real estate investing for about 35 years. Multi-millionaire, super prosperous, very good guy, good character building, right? He cared about people. He loved people. He was very generous. He was very respectful, had a lot of integrity, very powerful person. But I thought that was a really interesting way of looking at it, of going, if he didn't get out of his comfort zone time and time and time and time again, he wouldn't have gotten that check. Now, that's on a physical level, but you can, and a financial level, but you can look at it from other levels. If we get out of our comfort zone, typically when we say get out of our comfort zone, we mean the emotional body, right? We have fears, we have insecurities, we have doubt, we have anxiety, we have low self-esteem. It's typically emotionally related. But if you can keep expanding and strengthening the flexibility of your emotional body, you can do great, great things. I've had to overcome many inner resistance over the years to become a better person. And it has not always been easy. In fact, most of the time it's not been easy. So covering that from today's challenge number 13, about writing a joke. Jokes are connected to the sex chakra, connected to the throat chakra, lower creativity, higher creativity. And when you're laughing, what's happening? The solar plexus is getting cleansed, relieving you of stress, which many of you experience in today's challenge, and then also simultaneously activating your heart. Why? Because you're smiling, you're doing the mudra. Denise says, yes, I definitely want to expand more. Correct. That's what's necessary. So as you're thinking, what's the joke? 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 What's something that's funny? What's a joke that I have from my past? What's one that I can make up right now? You're stimulating the sex chakra. You're stimulating the throat chakra, right? To come up with something called lower creativity, higher creativity. So everything that has to do with speech, everything that has to do with the arts, painting, dancing, singing, public speaking, has to do with the sex and the throat chakra. Lower creativity, higher creativity. They feed one another, right? And then as you're coming up with the idea or the joke or the story or the skit, you're tapping into joy, humor, happiness. Grandmaster Chogo Koksui says humor gives you a realistic, humor makes you see life realistically. Humor makes you see life realistically. That's one of the qualities that I really appreciate about people from Eastern Bloc countries, like East Berlin, Russia, the Ukraine, is that these people were raised in very tough, harsh environments. And so one of their coping mechanisms and coping strategies is humor. So a lot of these people that have come from their countries and moved to the United States that I've met over my life, they have a tendency to, no matter what's happening, no matter how bad things have gotten, they have a lightness about them. They have a humor about them, which allows them to put things into perspective. Love dancing, singing, being silly. We know, Tina. We've seen your Facebook videos. I love it. And it's interesting because when you have humor about a situation, it makes your heart feel light. It makes you feel buoyant. It makes you resilient. It makes you flexible. It makes you adaptable. When you're lighthearted about things, you put things into perspective. Grandmaster Chogo Koksui says, if this doesn't affect you in 5 years, why would you let it affect you now? Right? If it's not going to affect, if whatever's happening in your life is not going to affect you in 5 years, why are you letting it affect you now? Right? So that's where the lightheartedness comes in, the sense of humor comes in. For many, many years, I would use humor as a coping mechanism, right? I would use humor as a coping mechanism. It's like, we're getting too close, we're getting too intimate. I would interject humor. I am feeling vulnerable, I'm feeling exposed, I'm feeling hurt. Let's interject humor, right? Now it's coming from a different place, a different space within me of why I'm humorous about something. But you can usually tell a lot about a person by how they perceive humor. If they go, that's not something funny, that's not something to be laughed at, that needs to be taken serious, right? And if I check correctly, the masters in pranic healing are some of, this is not a joke, some of the funniest people that I've ever met in my entire life, because they have a lightness in their heart, they have a realistic perspective on life, and they have huge sex chakras and huge throat chakras that allows them to be super, super creative. So when Denise is saying, I love creativity, that's what's happening. The throat chakra is being creative, right? The throat chakra is coming up with ideas. It's coming up with, it's taking knowledge and breaking that knowledge down and looking at it from different viewpoints, which is also part of the ajna, deals with understanding. So it's fascinating. Again, what we talk about on these daily streams and on these challenges is life itself. We're not talking about taxes. We're not talking about astronomy. We're not talking about NASCAR, which for some people, that is their life. That's their profession. That's their livelihood. That's what gets them juiced up. They're super into their hobbies. But what I choose to talk about on these streams is life itself. How do we live a better life? How do we not cope with life? Because coping is a lower level of truth, right? It's like when you ask somebody the question, how are you today? And they go, I'm fine. I'm okay. Things are all right, right? That's the person that's doing this their whole life. That's why one of my favorite quotes by Master Choa, live an exciting life. Live an exciting life. I've done that. How old is my body? It's going to be 40. When is my birthday, everyone? I would say, for about 30 years I've lived an exciting life. Not by design. Most of it was not by design. It just happened as it was. Exciting on every level. It's not like I just had excitement of danger and risk. I had excitement in the higher levels and higher planes as well. So live an exciting life. When you leave your body, leave fulfilled, leave content, lead of like, hey, I put it out there. That a girl, Jessica. Also, when they were interviewing people that were in hospice, typically people who are in hospice are going to leave their bodies within 2 weeks or sooner. And there's a book I highly recommend reading. Jessica, you can add it to your wish list. Joanna got it too. You can add it to your wish list of the 4, 5, 6 books that you now have to read. It's called, what's it called? Final Gifts, right? Final Gifts. I'm pretty sure it's called Final Gifts. Anyways, it's a book written by 4 nurses, hospice nurses, who have 35 years of experience. Jillian, namaste. You ever notice Jillian comes on at the same time every stream, right in the middle? You ever notice that? And in that book, it talks about their stories of people who were transitioning. You know, they go, hey, you have a terminal disease, terminal this, terminal that, and you have 2 weeks left to live, time to bring you into hospice, right? And then it's fascinating. It's an amazing book. It was written in the early 90s. It's an amazing book. I got all worked up reading it. I couldn't put it down. Because of my training and understanding of what happens to the soul when we leave the body. Fascinating. And they validated this through their own experience and their anecdotal evidence and stories. And there was a research done on people that were elderly, and they asked them the question, like they said, what is the biggest challenge that you have at this stage in your life? Your body's older, you know you're going to be leaving it soon. What's your biggest challenge? And the biggest challenge that these people had were regret. Number one. It wasn't regretting things that they did, it was regretting things that they didn't do. So I look back on my life and I go, yeah, I have a little regret here and a little regret here. But in general, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I chose that. I'm glad I moved forward on that. I'm glad I took that risk. But because by taking the risk, I got feedback. I got information. I got stories to tell. This I don't recommend. I changed my program around this. I had this program for probably 20 years. And it started when I was 15 years old. That I said, I want stories so that when I'm older and successful, as I perceived it, people will listen to me because I have an interesting life. People will listen to me because I have stories. But my stories were stories of struggle. And too many people identify with the struggle and they don't identify with the higher level of existence, right? So I changed that program a few years ago. I don't want people identifying with my struggle. I want them identifying with the higher aspects, with love, enthusiasm, with inspiration, with gratitude, with forgiveness, right? Versus, anger and aggression and making it happen and overcoming all odds and all of these lower vibrational energies. But I thought people don't listen to you unless you have a struggle, which in general that's the case, because if you met somebody who lived an extraordinary life, had no obstacles, impediments, or challenges along the way, and they were giving you advice, you're like, yeah, but you've never had any challenge in your life. Why would I even listen to you? So I got that program early on in my life as a teenager of like, whoa, the more I struggle, the bigger the challenges I have and overcome, the more people will listen to me and the more people will be inspired by me, right? But then guess what I set myself up for? Lots of challenges, lots of struggles, lots of pain, lots of suffering that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Seriously. So we live, we experience, we grow, and we repeat it over and over again until we get it right. Jessica says, so true. I had some end-of-life patients during my time at the hospital. Good one. Oh, you did? Okay. Karen's blowing up the hearts. You see that? Look at how Karen's getting after it. So that's what's going on when you guys are coming up with jokes and humor. It's you're lightening the load. You're making things lighter for you. You're having a realistic perspective on life. You're not taking things so damn seriously. For me, that's a pet peeve of mine. I think I'm still working on it. When I see people take things so seriously, it kind of drives me crazy. A little bit. Can you drive somebody a little bit crazy, or is it only a lot crazy? Like, crazy is always a lot. Because I see people that are very like this, very rigid in their thinking, rigid in their speech, rigid in the way they show up in the world. They're very like almost robotic. And I've always had a problem with that. I'm like, show me some realism. What do you got? Like, show me some humor. But then I realized not everyone's like me. And not everyone's like you. And we're not like everyone else. Master Choa said something very interesting many years ago. He says that spiritual people have a tendency to be naive because they project their openness, their love, and their warmth onto everybody else. So they go, I would never steal from anyone, so someone's not going to steal from me. But that's being naive. I would never cheat on someone, so this person wouldn't cheat on me. That's being naive. But you have to balance it. You can't go from being naive about everything versus I'm going to be completely closed off and lack discernment 100% of the time. You can't do this. Don't let the pendulum swing. Reina, but namaste. Be in the middle. Path of moderation and non-excessiveness. So Jessica is saying, there's truth to people wanting to know you actually been through something so they actually understand. They feel better knowing you have actually lived through it and not just talking to them from textbook teachings. Correct. And that was actually the very reason as to why I left high school. To why I left high school and to why I left college. Because the people who were teaching me hadn't been there and done that. Everything that they were teaching from was other books that they read. Manju, Atma Namaste. That's it. So I'm a big believer of being a practitioner of what you preach and being and sharing your expertise and sharing your wisdom from life experience. Samantha, Atma Namaste. So you have to have both. You have to have the research that validates your viewpoint, and you also have life experience. So you have both. You have the theory, and you have the practicum. So when people tell me forgiveness doesn't work, I completely ignore it. When people say, oh, you can't heal X, Y, and Z, I ignore it. Why? Because I have theory, I have the theoretical understanding, and I have lots and lots and lots of practical experience. right? So when people say this, I'm like, nope. Or if I don't know what they're talking about, then I can validate and go, yeah, you're right. You have a better understanding in that area than I do, right? But if they don't, they don't. Easy. So Jessica, hold on everyone. Jessica says, unless I'm in the wrong mindset, but speaking from people I work around, I saw who they responded better to. Yeah, there's a relatability. The wounded warrior. Yep, the wounded warrior. And that's why a large percentage of people who are healers are people who have experienced a tremendous amount of suffering. But here's the thing. You have to transcend that to help other people. You cannot be a chaotic mess and expect to help other people. You have to have a level of mastery, self-mastery, in order to help other people. And that's a whole other common conversation in and of itself. Jessica says, I work with a lot of broken souls. Souls are not broken. The soul, while not perfect, is pure. So the weaknesses is from the incarnated soul. Right? The weaknesses are from the incarnated soul. So my mind has weaknesses. My emotions have weaknesses. My physical body has weaknesses and limitations. But the soul does not have those, the higher soul. So what we're constantly doing is trying to remove the weaknesses from the incarnated soul to connect to the higher soul and go, I am that I am. I, the little self, am the big self, and the big self is the little self. I am that I am, right? I'm excited to have a better toolbox to go help people now. Atta girl, keep doing your practices. So I know we ran over today. I know we covered a lot of different topics, kind of hovering around humor. The irony is, isn't this funny? We started with humor, lightheartedness, happiness, joy, and then for some reason it kind of got into heavier, denser energies. So let's all raise the vibration. Love transmutes. Love transforms. Love raises vibration. Okay? That's Nas. Broken away from the human, from the soul humans. Okay. So, do you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns? I appreciate you guys plugging in day after day, week after week, month after month. The real question is, what's this going to look like in a year? What's this going to look like in 5 years? What's this going to look like in 25 years? Maybe each and every one of you will be running your own huge groups, or you'll be helping other people run their own huge groups to inspire others, to help others grow, evolve, become better, right? So, planting the seed. Yes, love is super magical. Tremendous. Man, I thought I knew what love was 5 years ago. Not even close. Val, Atma Namaste. Haven't seen you in a long time, man. Hope you're doing well. Excited, yeah. So be it. But that is it for today. For those of you who need healing, go to ChristianRLong.com. Boop. It's my website. Wait, Jessica. Poconos. Get it? Poconos? Pokahiny? Anyone? Anyone at all? Anyone? Go to ChristianRLong.com. Schedule a healing. And then check us out. I'm sitting on the cord, that's why. Hey, Val. Schedule a healing. We do 30 minutes of coaching to get understanding and clarity as to why you're stuck in that area of your life. Then we do 30 minutes of healing to remove the congestion, to remove the blind spots, to remove the blockages, to remove the heaviness. Thanks, Val. Received. And may you also be blessed by God and the great ones. So be it. And then check us out tomorrow, 8 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time, for another challenge. We're going to be at challenge 14. Isn't this exciting? And then we'll be doing our Twin Hearts meditation on Zoom at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time. Spread the love. Share the stream. Let people know about it. The more people we have coming on doing our meditations together, the more healing occurs, the stronger the energy, the more good karma that's generated. So there's a lot of benefits to a bigger group. Fair enough? So that is it. Let's go to the Poconos with Pocahontas. Guys are so funny. I don't know, sometimes I really like the cheesy kid humor or the dad jokes. Sometimes I call it my son and I go, all right, I got some jokes for you. And he gets all excited but kind of rolls his eyes at the same time because he's a teenager. So I give him the dad jokes and he's like, ugh. He's like, all right, that was pretty funny, or that one was really bad. I kind of like the dad jokes because they're cheesy. Kami, Amma, namaste. Welcome. AC. Why do I know that? Oh, you're tagging somebody. That's a name, right? You're killing me over here. From Massachusetts. Get over here. Pack your car and have it yad. It's funny when you have one of the a comedian that grew up in Boston. He made the comment that Boston, there's no such thing as a Boston accent in South Boston. It's a whole city of people who pronounce words incorrectly, which I was like, there's a level of truth to that. Anyways, not to ramble. I'm just kind of blissed out, enjoying your companies and your energies. So thank you for sharing. Anyways, love you guys very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope this was a phenomenal Sunday for each and every one of you, and a phenomenal weekend. And guess what? We have a whole new week ahead of us of great opportunities to grow, to stretch, to become better, to share light, love, and power with others. So I will connect with you soon. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma, namaste. Bye. They speak like British people. You sure about that, Sarah? Talk to you guys later.